Idi Amin Dada Ume, often remembered as the Butcher of Uganda, was one of the most infamous African leaders of the 20th century. A former British colonial soldier who rose through the military ranks, he seized power in a coup in 1971 and ruled Uganda with terror, eccentricity, and brutality until 1979. His regime was marked by mass killings, ethnic persecution, economic collapse, bizarre declarations, and international isolation. Yet his life is also surrounded by mystery, contradictions, and controversy, making him one of history's most complex dictators. 1. Early life and military rise. Born circa 1925 in Koboko, northwestern Uganda, exact date unknown. From the Kakwa ethnic group, a small tribe near the Sudanese border, joined the King's African Rifles, a British colonial regiment in 1946, fought in Burma, Kenya, Mau Mau Rebellion, and Somalia. Known for physical strength and brutality, he rose to lieutenant by independence 1962, one of the few Africans at that level. 2. Coup and seizure of power 1971. Amin was appointed army chief by President Milton Obote, 710,130 AM, ChatGPT. On January 25, 1971, while Obote was abroad, Amin staged a military coup. Initially welcomed by Ugandans and the West for promising stability and order, however, within months, mass purges began. Amin consolidated power through fear, assassination, and ethnic cleansing. 3. Reign of Terror, 1971-1979. A political repression and massacres. Estimated 30,000 Ugandans killed. Victims included soldiers, judges, professors, priests, ethnic minorities, and anyone deemed disloyal. Targeted ethnic groups, Akoli Langi and Indian community. Methods of execution were often grotesque, with bodies dumped in the Nile or left in public to instill fear. B. Expulsion of Asians, 1972. Ordered the expulsion of over 70,000 Asians, primarily Indians and Pakistanis, many of whom held British passports. Claimed a vision from God told him to do it. Seized businesses and gave them to untrained Ugandans, triggering economic collapse. C. Cult of personality and eccentric behavior. Declared himself president for life, conqueror of the British Empire and King of Scotland. Claimed psychic powers, wore elaborate military outfits, and lived lavishly amid national poverty. 710,100 and ChatGPT. Kept a harem of wives, and was accused of torture, cannibalism, and ritual killings, though some reports may be exaggerated. D. Foreign relations and isolation. Broke ties with Britain and Israel, aligned with Libya, the Soviet Union, and Arab states. Supported Palestinian terrorists. Hosted them. 5. Death and legacy. Died August 16, 2003 in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Lived under Saudi protection, largely unrepentant. Never brought to justice. Some family members later returned to Uganda. Legacy. Uganda lost a decade of development and tens of thousands of lives. The expulsion of Asians destroyed Uganda's economy, left behind a legacy of trauma and fear. Yet to some, especially in his native region, he remembered as a nationalist who defied the West. 710. 130 AM. ChatGPT 6. Controversies and mysteries. Was Amin a puppet? Some argue Britain initially supported him to oust Obote, who leaned socialist. Role of foreign powers. His access to weapons and funds despite sanctions raises questions. Exaggeration of crimes. Some claim reports were inflated for geopolitical reasons, though vast human rights evidence supports his brutality. 7. Idi Amin in popular culture. Subject of books, films, and documentaries. The Last King of Scotland, 2006. Fictionalized film starring Forrest Whitaker, who won an Oscar. Amin became a symbol of African dictatorship, caricatured in media, but also used to justify external interference in Africa. Conclusion. Idi Amin's rule was one of Africa's darkest chapters, defined by terror, economic ruin, and grotesque personalism. A man of contradictions, he rose from humble roots to become a feared dictator. His legacy remains controversial, a cautionary tale about power without accountability and the destructive fusion of populism, militarism, and paranoia. Though he died in exile, his shadow still looms over Uganda and over any conversation about leadership, sovereignty, and justice in post-colonial Africa.